We should do vocal exercises before each one of these. La 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 la.
Okay, I'm not doing that. Hello everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of Thoughts on the Couch. I'm Tim.
I'm Tarun.
And I'm Krishna.
In this week's video, we'll be discussing the latest G2A controversy, the announcement of the new Nintendo Switch Lite, and the upcoming release of the new Arkham Collection by Rocksteady Studios.
We'll also be discussing the latest developers update for Overwatch, and we'll take a closer look at the new teaser trailer for Disney's live-action adaptation of Mulan.
G2A, the unofficial third-party market for game keys, has found itself in hot water this week once again after an email from one of the company's employees, which was sent to 10 different news outlets, was leaked. Thomas Faust, a writer with Indie Games Plus, tweeted images of the email, written by a G2A employee by the name of Adrian. Contained in the email was a supposedly unbiased, pre-written article about how the sale of stolen keys on the site was impossible.
According to the same email, G2A sought to have this article published in an attempt to improve its brand awareness and its public image, claiming that the majority of the public did not understand the company's business model. They also requested that the article be published without any indication that it was associated with G2A whatsoever. As indicated by PC Gamer, this actually goes against advertising regulations in both the UK and the USA.
Since the leak, G2A has claimed that a lone employee was responsible for the emails, which were sent without the company's authorization.
Of course, the site has a less than stellar reputation in the gaming community. Over the years, the company has faced accusations that they ripped off game developers and failed to monitor its marketplace properly, allowing game keys purchased with stolen credit card details to be sold to customers. Just recently, G2A received harsh criticism from indie game developers who said the company had taken out ads on individual games, which were then placed above the ads the developers had taken out themselves online. According to these developers, they made no money from sales from G2A and had to offer extra customer support to people who bought fake or deactivated keys. Some developers even encouraged people to torrent their games over buying them from G2A. I think what we can take from this is that they're a shady company. I think people have known that for a while. This sort of just, reinforces that. So from that kind of perspective, it's not that surprising.
Yeah.
Obviously, they know that their public image is not very good. Like I said, they have a shady reputation. So this is trying to fix it. What do you guys think of the email? Does this excuse sound legit to you?
The email can be taken in a lot of different ways. Obviously, one is it could be true. Well, I doubt it's true that what G2A are saying, that one of their employees went out of his way without authorization to send that email. But it's nearly impossible for it to be true.
Yeah, it just seems to me like they're sort of feeding one of their employees to the dogs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other scenario, is that they did tell this employee to do this, because why the hell would you have an employee doing something not following the company at all? So they did tell him to do it, and they just threw him under the bus to save their own asses, which, not that hard to believe, seeing how G2A has been.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, they've had not a very good reputation in recent years. I know the whole game keys being purchased with literal, stolen credit card details. That's a thing, even though they say it's not actually something that happens. I'm pretty sure hackers have praised the site kind of ironically for, letting them do this.
I think G2A did say that it's a bit hard for them to keep track of all the sales that go through G2A.
This email, it just proves what we already know about the company. They're, very shady. You guys probably should not use them. I know most people don't use them. The big thing for me is that they're actually denying, developers profit, and they're selling games, it's kind of a legal gray area. I think it's not illegal, but the whole legality of it's kind of ooh, we're not sure about this.
They did say that they will pay their developers 10 times the money that they lost, as long as they can prove such a thing happened on their website.
That end bit, that's the key catch there. They're kind of just doubling down on the whole thing. It doesn't really happen, and if you guys can prove it, then we'll help you, but otherwise not really. So obviously, the whole thing about them not monitoring their marketplace, this stolen stuff, is well,
it's not a very good business model, which apparently we don't understand.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? They said in this sort of email that was leaked, they sort of said the majority of the public doesn't understand our business model. And I'm kind of saying, it's not that we don't understand how you work. It's we understand how you work, and that's exactly the reason why we don't use you.
Yeah, that seems kind of condescending.
Exactly. They say it was a rogue employee, but I don't buy that. Have you guys ever used this site?
No.
Oh, I haven't.
I've never used it.
What games do you get?
Looking online, you can get PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, you can get them all. I think part of the big attraction here is that you can sort of buy games from different regions. And so it's because of the differences in sort of regional stores, you can actually get them for less.
Let's not forget that Just recently we got news saying that they just announced that they will be making a key blocking system.
Just to break it down for you guys, this is basically G2A saying to sort of address the problem that stolen keys are being sold online. They said to developers that if you guys like manually enter individual keys that you don't want to be sold on the site, we'll sort of block that off for you. We won't sell those. Couple problems with that. First of all, they're not admitting that this is like stolen keys are a problem. Still not admitting it. They're just saying if this sort of happens, we're gonna do that. This is a system you can use. Second of all, you're kind of moving this to the developers in the first place, and it shouldn't really be their responsibility to do this.
Yeah, they also said that they're not gonna make it yet. First, they need to know if the developers want this to be something to be included on the website. Then only they'll make it. And if they do, it should be out by August 15th, I think.
Honestly, like this is a real shady thing. You guys should not use them at all. When we talk about, them fighting with like indie developers who literally said that we prefer you to pirate our games compared to like buying them off this site, right? That's a big deal. It's not often you see developers saying, pirate our games rather than using this. You wouldn't get that with Steam, you wouldn't get that with Origin, you wouldn't get that with Epic Games Store, anything like that. I'm kind of on, the indie developers side here. This sounds like a really shady thing. And, they don't make money from it. It's their hard work. They should make money from it.
Yes, and if you guys didn't know, a hacker even endorsed the site of G2A, calling it the best place to sell stolen keys. It's not an endorsement you want for your company.
Exactly.
Sounds like this is gonna do some long-term damage.
To be fair, they've been operating for, I think, 5 years already, and they've been hit with like controversy after controversy. They haven't shut down.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to companies with better reputations, Nintendo have officially announced a new Nintendo Switch console. According to Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is a smaller, more compact model of the Nintendo Switch, will launch on the 20th of September this year. Unlike the original Nintendo Switch, the Lite won't be compatible with your TV screens, but has been designed exclusively for handheld play, featuring a new, more compact design, including built-in integrated Joy-Cons.
The Lite's screen size and weight have been reduced to make it easier to carry around. The smaller size also means that the battery will last half an hour longer on average when compared to the original Switch console.
Due to the integrated controllers, the Lite will only support Nintendo Switch games with a handheld mode and does not feature either HD Rumble or an IR infrared camera. Of course, the biggest catch here is that the Lite will go on sale for $200 or £200, which is a significant reduction when compared to the price of the original Nintendo Switch. The Lite will also come in 3 different colors, yellow, grey and turquoise, with a special edition also being released alongside Pokemon Sword and Shield. So, thoughts on the Switch Lite?
Don't really know what to think much about it. I know for me personally, when I saw this, I thought about getting it because obviously it's cheaper and it's again more portable and I don't really have a TV screen to connect to. So I thought, hey, this will work. But hearing so many features being stripped away, then I was a bit more questioning if I should get this or I should just get the original Switch.
So obviously the huge thing here, like for most people, it's not really the handheld only thing that's going to sell it to people. It's the price reduction. That's the whole, that's the biggest selling point to me. To be fair, never really used the IR camera to begin with. I don't know really what that's for. So, them taking that out, not a really big deal, I guess. I still don't know if it's worth it compared to the Switch because the Switch, I think you're paying, roughly $100 more for a bunch of extra features. Obviously, being able to plug into your TV, I know that's a big thing for some people. This doesn't have that. So obviously they're trying to go back to the old sort of Nintendo DS days when people would carry their consoles around with them. Interesting that the battery's not that much better. Half an hour longer isn't that much. Expect for a handheld console, you would try to upgrade the battery a little bit more. Because it's a handheld console, you would want to sort of emphasize that you've improved the battery. I think it was 3 to 7 hours. It's not that great. So that's not too much. Reduced screen size, again, I get that they want to make it more compact, which is nice because honestly I do take my Switch around with me sometimes when I travel. It's not the easiest thing to carry, so they've made it small. I guess that's only a good thing for people who are going to buy this. Also, the weight hasn't been reduced by that much. It's not cut by half or anything like that. It's still roughly in the same sort of weight range, I guess. What else? Actually, Nintendo have said that if you do have a pair of Joy-Cons, which are the controllers for the original Nintendo Switch, you can connect those sort of wirelessly to the Lite and they'll work that way. Obviously, I don't know. Are you guys thinking of getting this? I already have one, an original Nintendo Switch, so I'm not too fussed, I don't think.
I mean, I personally am considering it. I know it only restricts you to games that support handheld play.
I think most games are handheld, so...
Yeah, but I assume if you have a party of people that you want to play with, You can't really do that on a Lite unless they brought their own Switch over. Then only you can really play it together.
The original Nintendo Switch console, obviously, Nintendo made a big deal. It's supposed to, you can use it to play with friends. You can take your console, you can plug down the screen, you can take out the controllers, and you can just play Mario Kart, for example. So obviously you can't do that with this unless everybody else has a Switch. So I guess they're kind of taking away the local co-op. I will say though, the fact that it comes in colors is kind of nice.
Is it worth getting if you don't have a Switch?
Well, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't get one because I already have one. But the big thing, I think, some people think this is actually going to be a really big hit when it's like, say, the holiday season, for example, like Christmas, around that kind of time. Because, this is cheaper. And for a lot of people, that is actually a big deal. It doesn't have as many features, but it's a lot cheaper. And that's the big selling point here.
Speaking of games being released in September, Rocksteady Studios have also announced that a collection of their Batman Arkham games will be released around that time. The Batman Arkham Collection, which contains all of the 3 core Arkham series games, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, is scheduled for release sometime in September for the PS4 and Xbox One. Both Asylum and City have already previously been remastered in the Return to Arkham Collection, which has already been released for some time.
For those Batman fans out there, Rocksteady have also confirmed that the European version of the collection will contain the Earth to Dark Knight skin for Arkham Knight, which is currently only available in North America. The skin will also be released to players who already own Arkham Knight early next year. However, the collection does not contain Arkham Origins, the prequel game developed by Warner Bros. Montreal, or Arkham VR. Origins hasn't been remastered for current consoles, and it won't be included in this collection either. So what do we think?
Huge fan of the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum, loved it. Arkham City, loved it even more. Arkham Knight, yeah.
Little less love for that, right?
Little less love for that, yeah, I think.
It's a bit of a step down in terms of story.
It's supposed to be the big finale, and it wasn't really. Which one's your favorite? That's the big question, I think.
Well, for me, it's Arkham City.
Yeah, I think Arkham City is probably my favorite, yeah.
Best story. The world isn't too small like Asylum. It'd be nice to have it as big as Gotham in Arkham Knight, but Arkham City does well to use the space it already has.
Yeah, I think obviously the big thing about Arkham Asylum, it has Scarecrow, which, genuinely terrifying, those sequences. Obviously, that's like legit horror territory. So are you guys going to get this collection? I personally don't see the worth of it.
Yes.
You're gonna get it?
Yes.
How much does this cost again?
I don't think they've said.
I assume it'll be $60 like any other game.
I think Turin's got you've got the good ballpark figure kind of there, so. I don't know if I would. Return to Arkham has already been out, and you can get, I think the 2 best games already. It's been out long enough to be on discount a few times already, so.
I had Return to Arkham and Arkham Knight, but I sold those copies to buy other games, and I have been tempted to go back and play those games, but I don't have it on me. So getting this collection would be really cool. As for Arkham Origins not being included, it wasn't the best game of the series, but to be fair, it had the best boss fights in the entire series.
I know that when Origins came out, people, said it was sort of subpar compared to the other games. I think that's still kind of true, isn't it? Apart from obviously the boss fights, as you said. The news that this collection be released sort of came out. People have said, actually, we were okay with Origins. We kind of liked it. It's not included in this and we don't like that. We want you to remaster it and include it.
Yeah, because there's still a clear fan base for Origins. People still want that game. I think what happened is, for some reason, Warner Brothers want to forget Origins.
It's so clear how much they're ignoring that game.
Which is weird because the game wasn't that bad. Sure, it was disappointing compared to the others, but still, you have a clear fan base for it. I think it wouldn't have hurt to include it in the collection. So it just doesn't really make sense to just not include it.
Honestly, the way I see it is that, as this collection stands, I wouldn't get it because I can get all 3 already and probably for less than this collection is going to cost. If they had included Origins, then I would think about getting it because it's sort of okay, the complete package, we got all 4 Arkham games, and Origins, I've never played it, so I would be kind of interested in playing that.
Yeah, I guess it's just a bit of a letdown they didn't include Origins. Krishna, have you played any of the Arkham games?
I played Arkham Knight a few times, yeah, but nah, that's about it.
Did you finish Arkham Knight?
No, I didn't. I don't finish most of the games I start. That's just me.
Let's move on to something lighter. The Overwatch team at Blizzard Entertainment have released their new July developers update video. According to the video, which was a little shorter than usual, Blizzard detailed the game's schedule for this. The Summer Games event will be returning very soon, despite previously taking place in August. The event will also feature new weekly challenges in the same style as the recent Baptiste challenge, which will allow players to earn new skins.
The game's 31st hero has also been delayed. We still don't know a lot about this new upcoming hero, other than the fact that the character is male. Blizzard are also making a number of quality of life changes, including improved cheat detection. More developer update videos will also be posted soon, so what do you guys think?
Looking forward to summer games, I guess. I don't really play Overwatch when there's not an event going on, because when the event comes and you have all the skins, and that's sort of why I play it. The summer games coming sooner than expected, that's nice as well. Obviously to make up for the fact that, Hero 31 is delayed.
What kind of hero do you think the 31st hero might be? Like a tank, support, damage?
Obviously, like you said, we don't actually know a lot about this hero. We know they're male, that's about it. Some people have been speculating, who is it going to be? Some people have said it's the character from the end of, I think, Storm Rising. So if you play to the end of that, you get a cutscene where you see Doomfist talking to like an evil Omnic, and some people have said, okay, maybe it's going to be that character.
Judging from the roster of their heroes, would you prefer the next hero to be a tank or support or damage?
I don't think it's going to be DPS. I think, judging from just the general sort of makeup of the hero roster as it is now, I think either tank or support at this stage. I think tank, because we already have Zenyatta as a support, so tank Omnic would be kind of cool, I guess.
While on the topic of Overwatch, what do you guys main as?
Brigitte.
Zenyatta or Moira?
Soldier.
So let's move on to some news that bridges our movie and games segment. A new animated show based on the hit game Cuphead. Netflix and the games developers at Studio MDHR are collaborating to bring a new animated series known as The Cuphead Show to Netflix. According to Netflix, the show will be an animated comedy that expands on the characters and world of the Cuphead game, which tells the story of two brothers, Cuphead and Mugman, who gamble with their souls to the devil and wind up having to repay their debts.
The Cuphead game, of course, was a huge hit when it came out, selling 4 million copies and receiving praise for its platforming gameplay and its unique visual design, which set out to recreate the style of the animated Walt Disney cartoons of the 1930s. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the show's creators said that they don't have much to share regarding the show's visual style or music, but that it's aimed at younger audiences, but with broad appeal so that it catches adults, including players of the game as well. So, thoughts?
I guess I'm interested to see it, obviously because it's linked to video gaming and there's not a lot of that sort of material.
Have you guys played Cuphead?
Played a little bit, quite enjoyed it. It's Dark Souls in platform form is probably best how to describe it. Obviously, the big thing about it is it has the really cool, visual style. The only thing that kind of makes me iffy about this show is that they sort of not said whether it will be done in the same style. So as far as I know, the only thing they said about, the visual style is that it's not going to be hand-drawn or, watercolor. Fun fact, the original game, apparently that's how they did everything. Everything was drawn, everything was sort of animated by hand, I think. The show won't do that because obviously it's just too much work.
Yeah, I kind of understand the animation part of it being very tough, because to do something like that for a series today, it would take way too long.
Speaking of adaptations, I think we need to talk about that new teaser trailer for Mulan. The film, which stars Chinese actress Liu Yifei in the lead role, seems to be taking inspiration not only from the 1998 animated film, but from the original Chinese legend of Hua Mulan as well. Due to accusations of whitewashing in Hollywood, Disney has emphasized that this film's cast, which includes Donnie Yen and Jet Li, will be all Asian. According to reports, Disney is also taking a different approach to Mulan compared to its other live-action adaptations such as Aladdin, and of course The Lion King, which is scheduled to be released next week. The biggest change, it will reportedly not feature any music.
This remake has also made a few other changes that promise to be controversial with fans, including the replacement of Mushu, Mulan's spirit dragon guardian voiced by Eddie Murphy. It's been rumored that the character is being replaced with a phoenix. Shan Yu, the villain of 1998's Mulan, has also reportedly been replaced with a witch by the name of Xian Lang in order to make this new film more of a gritty martial arts fantasy movie.
There are also rumors that McDonald's are going to make their famous Szechuan sauce once again, to coincide with the release of the film next year. Of course, the sauce was made in a promotion with the original film back in 1998.
What do we think of the teaser, guys?
I loved it. I watched it and it's visually stunning.
Currently, better than Aladdin looked, better than Lion King looks. The big change here is that there's going to be no music, no Mushu, no kind of like talking animals, that kind of thing. I don't know how I feel about that really, because at the same time, you want a little bit of that just to sort of, make it feel familiar. But at the same time, I think, the kind of problem we had with Aladdin and sort of, I think The Lion King, we're going to have a problem with that is because it feels too familiar. It feels like They're just, copy pasting essentially. So I think the fact that they're sort of, taking that out of Mulan, they're trying to make it different. They're trying to, actually, genuinely remake it. That could be a good thing. And from this trailer, it actually looks like a really good movie. I mean, if you didn't know anything about the original film, you would sort of like, hey, this actually looks really good.
And the thing about this trailer, well, what I felt from it is that this movie doesn't seem Disney-fied or anything. It seems very authentic.
Which is very odd for Disney in general, because Disney have been remaking these Disney classics to really just aim at the kid audiences, to reintroduce them to these tales that they have had classics of before. So seeing that this doesn't really look like it's aimed at kids is an interesting approach from Disney.
I think the point to be made about, them remaking all these, Disney movies is that basically what you get is that you're attracting new, kids now to see the movie. You're also attracting, adults who've, grown up, watching these movies to see it again.
Yeah, that's going to contribute to its box office haul.
Like we said, Mulan is obviously less of a nostalgia crash grab than the others. But even then, you still sort of see a little bit of Disney in there, I think. There's still a little bit of it in there, sort of. Because you see that when she drops the line, I'll bring honor to us all, you're kind of like, hey, she said the line. She said the line. And that kind of draws you in a bit more, I think.
Will you miss Mushu not being a part of the film, or does that matter to you?
Like I said, I'm open to seeing this sort of more, gritty reboot, I guess, gritty remake. Mushu, obviously I love Mushu, and I love Eddie Murphy and his performance, in the original, but at the same time, I think you kind of have to be open to it. I'll miss his performance, and miss him not being in it, but I'm, still keep yourself open to seeing, how this turns out. I think that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I'm open to seeing this thing. Looks really good to me.
I think it's the first Disney movie I ever saw, so still my favorite, I think.
I would get into the theater for this, yeah. Moving on to our weekly review roundup. This week, Horizon Chase Turbo.
What to say about Horizon Chase Turbo? Fun game. Fun in short bursts, I think, is what we said. Keep playing it for more than a couple hours. You'll quickly get, sort of fed up with it. It's the AI is amazingly frustrating. It's sometimes when you're racing, it's less about, racing 19 individual opponents and more facing, this brutal, cruel AI who's in 19 different places at once.
Yeah, it's basically the AI versus you. It's not you versus individual racers.
The visual style is pretty cool, I think, though. And it sort of feels like that sort of, you go to an arcade and play this sort of game. So I think maybe that's part of it. You sort of play it like you would an arcade machine. You sort of go to the arcade once a week, so you sit down, play a game, spend, 25 cents or whatever, and walk off until you come back next week. Still fun if you play it like that. Otherwise, can't really recommend it.
I mean, it's free. Might as well get it. It can be as a, pass some time with it or something, but...
Yeah, free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. If you don't, you're weird.
Anyways, that's all for this week. Next week, we ought to be covering some of Comic-Con, so that ought to be fun.
As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram in the links below, so you get notified whenever we post new content. And make sure you check our website, presso2couch.com, for the full versions of the reviews we write. Until next week, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.